But look, if you are thinking about getting in shape in summer, for summer, then there's no better time to start than today. My next guest has always been in shape for summer, winter, autumn, spring, no matter the month, because she's one of those ridiculously fit people who probably thinks nothing of doing things like a Busselton Ironman, which is just a lazy 3.8k swim, 180 kilometre bike ride, and then a marathon just to finish it off, all in a day's work. Suzzanne Laidlaw, hello.
Hello, thank you, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Been for a run this morning already, have you?
Yep.
How far did you go? Go on, make me feel bad.
It wasn't very far. I think we did about 6Ks.
Yeah.
It's more about the talking with my girlfriend and just feeling alive and fit and having some fun and connecting.
So most people will just go to a cafe to catch up with friends and
we do that after.
You do that after?
Oh, absolutely. So that's part of the routine.
It's a guilt-free coffee. Did you indulge and have a biscuit or a
big slice of banana bread? It was great.
How good's banana bread?
Yeah.
Full of sugar, but then you don't have to worry about that because you've just burned calories.
Yeah. It had nuts in it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, look at you. Living on the edge.
Absolutely.
But look, we want to talk today about people particularly sort of, 50 and above. Mm-hmm. I suppose you get to that time of life where you think, well, I've got my middle-aged spread here. Maybe my days of doing triathlons and getting fit are well behind me. But you say not so.
No, absolutely not. And from my experience, I meet a lot of business owners and executives that are so busy working that they find it very hard to fit time in to keep fit. And I hear them complaining about, I have no energy, I'm always exhausted, and things like this. And then they say, oh, I find it really hard to sleep. And it's like, well, okay, when was the last time you exercised? Because the fitter you are, the more energy you have.
Yep.
And as well, the more exercise you do, the easier it is to sleep because you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's about saying, what am I doing in life that's going to create energy rather than take it away? Lying on the couch and, drinking a bottle of wine at night takes energy away, even though it feels good at the time. It's not very good long-term wise.
No, absolutely. Time is obviously the number one excuse, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
And look, to some extent, it is a valid excuse, isn't it, to a point?
To a point, yeah.
Especially, you're dealing in your business coaching line of work with people who are very busy. They've got great pressures on them, and particularly with technology now. You're always on the other end of a phone call or an email or a whatever.
Yep.
It's hard to find the time, isn't it? But do you tell people that essentially
that's no excuse?
You've almost got to be a bit selfish.
Yeah, there's no excuse. And I can feel their pain when I was in would have been early 30s.
Yep.
I was getting up to the, putting on a kilogram every year and had 2 little kids and was running a business, and I didn't have time for exercise.
Yep.
And was finding I was getting more and more unfit and having to change sizes of clothes every few years. And then I realised after I'd had a life-threatening disease that I had life left in me. So it was actually time to, when something's been taken away from you, you really want to go back and have a second chance.
Yep.
And I actually got tricked into being a morning person because I was never a morning person. And I sort of used to think these people that get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, they've got a special gene that I didn't have.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
No, I used to think like I was in a coma every morning. And then I got back from a conference in Sydney once, and the 3-hour time difference in summertime, I was awake at 5. And went for a walk around the lake and saw all these happy people and these morning people, and I'm like, I want to be like that.
Who are you people?
I know. And they're like, morning, smiling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what they do. And what happened was I had this realization when I got home that I had all this time to get the kids lunches, to get myself ready, not to be rushing, not to be thinking, oh, I'm late. And I'm like, oh my God, I've just tricked my brain. If I can wake up in Sydney at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's 5 o'clock in Perth.
Yep.
Why not just keep that trick going? And then I can actually all of a sudden become a morning person. And from that day forth, that mindset shift changed.
Yep.
And I met some amazing people in triathlon, and that was 20 odd years ago.
Yep.
And from that day forth, I just changed my mindset, because as a mum and a business owner, you've got to make the time. You can't just, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
So that's obviously a single moment, and maybe that's what people need to do. Go to the East Coast, in daylight savings time.
Change
go
the
over
clock.
there, set your body clock there, come back and pretend you're still.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the trick is you've got to go to bed early.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, I'm one of those people, if my alarm goes off at that time and, getting up is optional.
It's hard. Yeah.
The voice in my head that just goes, nah, no
I have
chance.
the same
Roll
voice.
over.
Yeah.
You're warm. You're safe. Just stay here.
I have
that
the same.
voice is so much more powerful than the one going, get out of bed.
Yeah, when the electric blanket's on 3 and the temperature says it's 3 degrees outside.
Yeah, winter, forget about it. No
difficult.
chance.
Well, I've ran right through winter. The trick I find is meeting somebody that you love.
Yeah.
Having a running buddy, having a friend, having someone that is counting on you.
So
that you just don't want to.
Let the guilt get you up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Whatever
works.
Yep.
Okay. What about, people who are worried about getting injuries, particularly something like running, which obviously great to have some sort of load-bearing exercise for strengthening your bones, but at the same time, it can be tough on your knees and your ankles and your hips in particular.
Yeah, especially if you're overweight. If you're carrying a lot of weight, that's a lot of pressure on your knees. So you want to start off slowly. Just start walking. Just walking is fine. Start off walking. I mean, when my friend and I, when we have colds or if we're not feeling, 100%, we'll walk, run.
Yep.
So just walking, just getting the body moving is a great start for any age.
Swimming? Swimming's often put up as being less taxing on the joints.
It is, but it's not going to give your bones much benefit. But I mean, swimming's great. I love swimming.
Yeah.
I swam to Rottnest. I loved it so much.
Of course you have.
just because you can. So, but just start gently and slowly. I mean, my husband in his mid-40s was over 115 kilos.
Yeah, right.
And really bordering on being an alcoholic. Now he's 62 and lean, 70 kilos and never ever been as fit and strong as he is in his whole life as he is now.
Is he one of your running, swimming?
No, he's a personal trainer.
Buddies?
He's my yoga instructor.
Wow.
And my personal trainer. So and he was not like that in his 40s. He was an overweight, stressed, alcoholic businessman, and he just decided that he had to change, otherwise life was going to be taken from him.
Which is a pretty common profile, isn't it?
Yeah, and now he's he's never been, imagine being as fit as you've been in your whole life at 62 and pumping the most amount of weights, like strength-wise, than he's ever done.
Well, you've given me a lot of hope. Particularly the walking and the guilt thing, that might get me out of bed, because mentioning swimming, I mean, getting out of bed at that time of day, particularly in winter, is a struggle.
Yes.
To go and then get into a body of water, be it a pool or the ocean.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's
I'm not
very
even going to kid myself. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but if you're drawn out with people that you really like and, and you want to catch up with mates you haven't seen for a long time, people you keep saying, oh, we'll catch up, and you never do because life's so busy. What about sending them a text and saying, hey, that catch up, let's go for a walk along the coast. It's beautiful at the moment.
Yep.
And we'll have a coffee afterwards and reward ourselves after a walk from Scarborough to Hillary's and back.
Yep.
That's a good walk.
One of the other things I've noticed, look, I'm not in my 50s yet, but that will be the next decade that I get to.
Well, I'm lucky enough to be
in
there.
my early 40s, but I see, as some of my friends now are having that wake-up call for whatever reason, be it, a health scare or, their friend or loved one telling them, you've got to do something about your health.
Yep.
And then what they do is they go, right, I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to go 6 days a week. And they kill themselves. Yeah. And then, 6 months later, the gym membership's a distant memory. They've hurt themselves. They've lost. They basically just went too hard. They went from nothing to fanatical.
Yes.
And it doesn't work. Is that a pretty familiar and common story?
Yeah, I think so. I think people, they just go too hard. I think it's got to be something that's sustainable. Fitness is something that I think people need to realise it's part of your life forever. It can't be, I've taken 20 years to get unfit and 20 years to put on 20 kilograms. I'm going to go on a 3-month fitness regime and in 3 months I'm going to change what I've done in 20 years. It's an actual change of life forever. That's it. It's the mindset forever of, okay, this fits in my lifestyle. I'll do 3 walks a week and ask somebody to walk with me or a couple of different buddies to walk with me, and I'm going to join this yoga class and do this. Start off gentle, do a couple of yoga classes a week, and that's 5 times a week.
Yep.
and then just slowly but surely build, but make it part of your lifestyle. It's not a once of 3 months quick fix thing.
Yeah.
That can't happen. It's got to be sustainable. We're a vehicle, like a car. You've got to maintain it.
Yeah.
It's your vehicle for life. You've only got one vehicle.
Only got one. Can't trade it in.
No.
As good as modern science is.
Yeah.
You've done some pretty extraordinary things. You've represented Australia in World Triathlon Championships all over the world. You've done the Bustleton Iron Man. We should call it the Iron Person, really,
Iron
shouldn't
person,
we?
Yeah.
You've done a solo Roto swim. You've completed marathons. Here, there, and everywhere.
Yep.
What's been the toughest one for you? What's been the physical feat that's put the most demand on you?
Probably swimming to Rottnest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that's brutal.
Yeah, that was because the
I'm
thing
tired
is,
after a boat trip over there.
Yeah, when you swim to Rottnest, you actually can't touch anything. You can't touch the boat.
Yep.
You can't touch like a paddle or anything. So even in an Ironman, you're changing disciplines.
Yep.
And you can stop. I mean, I stopped and hugged my kids and high-fived my friends, sat down and rubbed my feet, had a little food break and changed my clothes in the tent. It's a bit of a walk in the park if you go slowly. But with the swim to Rottnest, you cannot stop. Not once.
Yeah.
And the day that I did it, it was one of the worst days ever. It was 3-metre swells and over half the soloists didn't finish, and it was just a horrendous day, and it took me like all day to get there.
Is it true that they talk you through beforehand, what you might expect back there, and one of them is really vivid and potentially dangerous hallucinations out there?
Yeah, I didn't get
that?
No. I mean, there was a shark on the day that I did it, but I didn't see the shark. I saw it on the news that night.
Didn't see it in your mind either?
No, I didn't, no.
Well, that's good.
No.
Which I must say, some people have come back with stories of that, where you're swimming and you're so in the zone, and it's just been arm over for, hours and hours.
Yes.
You're almost sort of unaware of your own body moving, where you are, what's up, down, left, right. You're just so in an automatic frame of mind that suddenly you see something that's not there underwater, and it's your brain playing tricks on you.
Playing tricks. No, I didn't have that. I just kept thinking it's taking a lot longer than I expected. A lot longer than I expected. So
look, as we approach summer, obviously, it's a beautiful spring day today. It's the time of year when people do start thinking about, you wear less clothes in summer, you're a bit more on show, aren't you? So
definitely,
you've got to get in shape. For someone who's been a bit sedentary for some time, too much time on the couch, is walking your number one sort of tip to get out and just get moving? To
start, or some gentle classes of some kind. Yoga or aerobic or something. But I would say sit down. It's the beginning of spring. Sit down with a friend and actually write down the goals with a friend and get someone to hold you accountable. I mean, whenever I have a big event that I'm doing, say, a 3-month training program for, I'll always put the program on the fridge. And so that there's a subtle reminder that my whole family can see, so that if mum comes down at 7 o'clock and it says I'm meant to be, out cycling, they're like, oh, how was that cycle, mum? You're not meant to be here. So it's just the more people you share your goals with and your aspirations, the more, I suppose, accountable you are, and especially if you write them down and share them with lots of people.
This all sounds like a very Catholic way of life.
But people that you respect and people that respect you, because you don't want to be, you don't want to be letting people down and letting people think that you're not your word. Yeah.
Can I ask just finally, you're a business coach as well.
Yep.
How much of the exercise stuff feeds into that and this, this discipline?
All the time, because if you're a business owner and you're wanting to have a really successful business, who's the driver of that business? The human being that's running it, the business owner. Now, if that vehicle is not being looked after, they're putting toxins in their body every night with too much alcohol or drugs or cigarettes. If they're not working it out, they're not servicing it with exercise and good nutrition, well, they're not actually going to be as optimally running their business as they could, because they're not going to be fit of mind and body to actually run it.
Just lastly, Suzzanne, give yourself a plug. If people want to get in touch with you for some business coaching or just some words of advice.
Yes, okay.
A bit of a firing up ahead of summer.
Well, the old saying, you might have heard it before, failing to plan is planning to fail. So I'm happy.
Brilliant.
I'm happy.
That's a bumper sticker right there.
I'm happy to have a chat with anyone. I'm always up for a coffee with anyone that's got an entrepreneurial spirit. Born and bred in Perth all my life. So just look up Suzzanne Laidlaw and with the 2 Zs and you'll find me.
Okay.
I'm happy to have a chat.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm going to go for a walk as soon as I'm done here.
All right. Good on you.
I promise.
Thank you.
I'll put it on the fridge. Then it'll be official, and I'll get someone else to be aware of my plans.
Text your best friend.
Guilt trip me if I don't do it. Thank you very much for coming in. There you go. No excuses, folks.